Okay.
So both my Facebook page.
All right.
So yeah. So we
And we're
like
live.
now we made it kind
We're
of
live.
yeah we made it go tap people on the shoulder.
Yeah, tap people on the shoulder. I want to talk to people. It'd be fun. I'm dressed for a party. Come on now.
Right.
We need some people.
Let's see what we hit him right there. Let me see.
Let's do it.
People just they kind of start hopping on once they yeah it's showing now.
Come on. Come on. Come
If
on.
they go wake up everybody.
Yep, time to wake up. There's some wisdom being dropped. Get up.
Yes. Okay. So I guess before we start getting this real good, we can go ahead and just introduce to let just talk to us real quick, a little bit about yourself, looking all nice.
Had to get ready
Yeah,
for you. Had to get ready for you.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I am Aktha. It's pronounced like you have an ache in your body that you're waiting for Satori to work out for you. And the T has a TH sound. So Aktha. And yeah, I'm so excited. I'm super excited about this book. I've just been really excited by the entire living soul system as far as I know. I've just started to learn more about it in the last few months. And I'm signed up for the certification course. Anybody else want to join me? I can't wait to calculate everybody's numbers that I know. Um, and yeah, and I'm excited about this book. I took your, I was with you for your workshops around femininity, which was really great. I loved it. I loved not only what you shared, but I loved the community in there. Um,
Cool.
but this book has got all kinds of extra stuff, all kinds of gems in there. I just got it today, y'all. It just came out today. I just got it. Just started looking at it and I'm like, "Ah, I'm drooling." I am. I'm not even making it up. Oh god, every time I read it, it's like it's so accurate. It makes me laugh and pisses me off all at the same time. But
You
yeah.
just like, okay, yeah,
I don't know what
huh.
you got going on with that math, but that math is mathing. It's accurate, and your interpretation of such just speaks. It just speaks to anybody who has done some self-awareness work. You're going to know. You're going to know when you look at it like, damn, that's me. And that's
Yeah.
what's going on. Okay. It just gives
Right.
you, you
Like,
know, I'm
so
not
what's
just
some of the?
crazy.
I know you just got it, and just like peace everybody that's hopping on, and I want to let everybody know this is actually a release. I'm announcing the release of the book is officially today. The release is available. Y'all can hit my bio link for Phases of Femininity, written by me.
It
Um,
is so good. It is so good. I'm looking at it now, y'all, and it's I in this book it describes different phases of your life, and I have just ended one phase and started a new phase, and oh my god, it's all so damn accurate. I'm like, oh, okay.
so
I
let's
feel a
go
little
there. Let's talk about that.
feel a little naked. You're talking to Satori. Just know if he knows your birthday, he knows all about you. All right, go on.
No, we'll stay right there. So, talk about the phase you say you just left and the phase that you're in now. I mean, because I think you're in actually a fresh transition in
I'm
the.
in a fresh transition. This. the ages are defined by actual, like, your age. So one ends at 45 and starts anew at 46. I am 46 right now. And so I just ended the magnetizing phase and I'm entering the blossoming phase. Um, and what I love, because at first I was like, oh no, does that mean my magnetism is over? Is it gone? And you very kindly explained to me that this is not, you don't lose what you've already gone through. You build on that. It carries forward with you. It becomes part of who you are. And then, so like the magnetism can now lead to the blossoming, but you don't leave it behind. Correct? Am I right?
Exactly correct. Absolutely. Because they're like initiations. It's like, we like how we start honing on a skill, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
I know you see you have daughters, or if they was in ballet or gymnastics, or like you want to play in basketball. A lot of times you start with the basic fundamentals, like in martial arts. You learn individualized techniques, then you learn how to combine them together, then you learn how to use them in situations, and as you start to master those, you just graduate through those different initiations into the very next phase. And that's kind of the same thing too. It's like you were saying it, so you don't lose nothing, none of the lessons or none of the activations. So I'm talking about the initiations, but in these initiations, when you move through those effectively and take what you need out of it, you now receive a different activation. Okay. And so we talk about these activations. So we're talking about there's four primary um, phases, and then you got a post phase,
Mm.
right? So the four primary phases, and each of those phases, you have 9 cycles inside those phases. And so if you look at those four, so you basically 36 times in those four phases, you will be going through these different initiations and activations, right? And then you add in the fifth, you're going through the 54, right? So I'm sorry, 45. Sorry about that. I'm trying to make it way more than what it needs to be. But but you go through all these different phases, and they bring these activations. Now here's the thing about the activations, and as you know, it either could bring out the potential that we have,
Mm-hmm.
the latent potential that we probably haven't activated, but it's inside of us. How do we know? Because we can look at our archetype or soul archetype lineups and be like, hold on, I had this alignment here, but I haven't really been fully manifesting or bringing that forward,
Mm.
right? And so
Right.
that's one of the things I love about when I was writing this book, and I was talking to one sister. She was in Africa going over it. She was like, I love the simple fact that you can go and assess in the
Mm-hmm.
phases, see where yourself is at, see where you're properly aligned or not aligned, and pull it out. And then, of course, we can start going more deeper, further into it by doing the living soul numbers and just begin to see where your archetype lines up, see what phase. I can get onto the rabbit hole, but and get all into that and start to really see, like, oh, this is kind of what groove I'm in, at this phase of my life or whatever. So, but back to what you're saying, it's like those activations. Where did you recognize? Can you just from that magnetized into this blossoming phase, basically, what you said, and
Yeah.
we know that there's a shadow side to it too. So you can,
That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right now. That's what I said. You either like, oh, I love it, or you're like, no. Yes, and I also, like you were just saying, how each phase has those 9 sort of initiations, you call them. Yeah,
yes,
9 initiation phases that you go through, and so like I said, I just turned 46 this year, so it says the first year is commitment and growth spectrum, and that is just amazing to me because I mean, this is a 9-year cycle, right? So I
yeah.
have had issues with certain aspects of myself making commitments to certain things for myself. And
Mm,
this year has been like the year, like it's the year where I'm like, no, I'm committed to this and I'm going to show up for it like this. And I'm going to, like, the action is behind it, the commitment is behind it. My very clear intention for growth is like forefront, like priority of everything. And
Mm,
that's what you say here. I was like, wait, what? Year one, commitment and growth spectrum. I mean, it's just exactly. And I can't wait to kind of really sit and read these things and then, do my own journaling about how that shows up for me right now. Um, yeah. There's everything. I mean, all this, like, this book again, I'm just diving into it, so I'm still learning like the content of this, but like
right.
the living soul information in general is just been so accurate. One, very, very, very accurate. Two, insightful for myself of why I might be the way I am in certain situations or scenarios. Just understanding my own dynamics, my strengths, areas where I have imbalances that need to be like deeply looked at. All those kinds of things. It's just been really remarkable. And then, of course, once you get to learn somebody else's numbers, you're like, oh, like I was saying to you before, you won't take things as personal because you understand they're living in their soul. They're living in their soul. What would you call that?
Their journey
Their soul
or
journey.
their alignment. They're yeah, they're in their
Along
alignment,
with
right?
right, and understanding their numbers and how their numbers work and why they show up the way they show up because of that. And it has nothing to do with you necessarily. It's just who they are. And I feel like it just makes you really appreciate other people in a deeper way and understand them in a deeper way, understand yourself, why sometimes you and another person don't see eye to eye. Yeah, I don't know. It's all been really
No,
amazing.
on the same thought,
Off
like what you're
topic.
saying there, and as you know, I think you've been kind of recognizing and seeing one of the things is like we're all mixing and mingling in this life, and some of us mix and mingle more easier with each other than others,
Hmm,
right?
right.
So what is that? It's that gravity part. It's that push and pull part. Do I have more of a pull towards you, or do I have more of a push
Hmm.
towards you? You know what I'm saying? And so the living soul, when we start getting to the energetic alignments, we start to really see that. I start smiling. You start seeing me. I start getting to that stuff. Like, yes, this is why this and this is happening, because a lot of times you're like, oh, well, these two numbers right here generates improbability, right, of a certain gravity effect. There might be more tension because of the numerical association. It doesn't mean you can't coincide with each other. It just means that you might have more effort to apply in
Hmm.
that situation or in that relationship and tap more into your skills of interplay.
And isn't that great to know, right?
Yeah.
Like, isn't that amazing to know about the people in your life? Sometimes you have to interact with people that you may not have complete alignment, easy flow with, right? But you have to
Right.
interact with them. So if you can understand them and understand yourself, um, I just feel like you can do it from this really from a place of wisdom in the way
Yep.
that you are going to interact with that person. So yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Also, can we talk about this cover, like the art on this cover? Where did this come from?
Actually, yours truly designed it. Um, you
What?
know, thankfully
What?
to yeah,
Wait,
thankfully to
what? You do it?
technology.
Wow, I love it. It's beautiful.
Thank
It is
you.
beautiful. So, can you tell us a little bit about it? Why you included what you included on that cover?
Yeah. So, and you'll probably relate to a lot of this. So, if you look closely, you see the Asian, Afro, and Vedic um, influence, and it's all merged into
Mm,
one, right? Then, of
I see
course,
that. That's
you know,
beautiful.
Thank you. Of course, I'm melanated and very proud of that, but I'm also proud of all the other different blends that goes in with it. And so I really want to highlight that beauty because a lot of times
Mm,
culturally we don't see the woman as a emblem, a representation of wisdom from the feminine spectrum, right?
right.
And so I want to highlight that, and also want to reference like some of the hints of Kemetic wisdom, the hints of the Taoism, the Vedics of the Dhammapada, the Gita, and then also people that has more that more of that biblical
Mm,
understanding, but it's from a metaphysical aspect. Um, highlighting. So it's like this whole merger of one of all the influences that influenced me in
right,
my personal spiritual journey,
right.
but also the influences that I know that's commingling, right,
Mm,
um, around the feminine. So a lot of times we get the one scope of the feminine, the feminine energy, but this book, of course, particularly is about the feminine energy, but how it is moving behind the femininity of the woman.
mm,
We know feminine energy is not the woman, but the representation as the woman as she's evolving in her own life path, her own journey, and going through different transformations, initiations, and activations or deactivations as well. Um,
mm, mm.
but it's all part of her journey, right? It's all part of that journey path. And so through observation, you already know he joke with me all the time, but just through observing, here's the advantage when we're seasoned in life, we get to observe a lot of things. And so just from observation is I was like, I wanted to create this, and I didn't
Mhm.
draw it, but I was able to take, different the technology and the computer stuff, and I had to give like Latin, because Latin, she's like a image, so she kind of like challenged me to kind of start using some of the technology to create and see
I
what I could
love
kind of create out of it. And so um, this is a creation. This is so it's yeah. Yours truly kind of did that, and when it came out like I wanted to, I was like, oh, I did this thing.
Yeah, you did. And I love it. I love it. So now I have a question for you. In our classes, we talked a lot about femininity and just feminine energy, which was, that's beyond gender.
Right.
A man or a woman has feminine energy. So is this book, you were saying, is specifically more for women in that way, or men who want to understand the women in their lives, or is this addressing feminine energy as a whole?
That's nice. I like you put three different phases in. So first is for the woman, right?
Okay.
Because is what we're doing is the physio representation of the
Mm-hmm.
feminine energy is the woman, but
Mm-hmm.
we're showing the other aspect, which relates to anyway, is how the feminine energy
Mm-hmm.
is working through the biological assignment of the woman
Mm.
as she's moving through life, as she progresses, quote unquote, in age. What
Okay.
are what does that look like? What is happening? In probability, what is she facing with? What is she looking forward to? What is she working through or working in? Right. And so it's capturing that and showing, that, and that's where it's coming from. But it's kind of like the merger showing, like, okay, yeah, we know feminine energy is non-gender, but we're going to focus on the gender representation and show how it's moving, so you can
Mm.
see that through these cycles that's influenced by principle in the phase of creation alignment. This is where the commentary basically comes from, the math behind it. We didn't put all the math in the book because everybody ain't been trying to look at all that, right? But the explanations are coming from that, and it's very principle, university principally centered.
Mm.
Uh, Now for the men, absolutely, I had the brothers in mind as well, because a lot of men and kudos to the men, because a lot of men groups that I interact with, the brothers. I see Daryl's on here. I appreciate you, man. It sounds like a classic. Much success with the new book. Um, A lot of us, we're not sitting in the corners trying to bash women. A lot of times, and I want to share this for a lot of women, because I know it's a little different with the women's side, but the men's side, a lot of times, they want to have more understanding. They want a little more insight, right? I mean, we have our frustrations, of course, but I could say just unanimously across the board. I'm talking about decent masculine, healthy masculine. Let me say that. And when the exchange is more healthy, um, you'll start to recognize if you could be the fly on the wall that men are more. They're interested in how they're aligning or how
Mm.
they're facilitating and how they understand. So a lot of times men are trying to seek understanding. And so when we don't have the understanding, we get discombobulated. We're like, oh my God, we get frustrated because I don't get this. And so this right here, this becomes like a tool, the phase of
Mm.
femininity, because a brother can look at this and the woman or the women that he's dealing with, he kind of can, from an aerial view, right? And
Yeah.
just and kind of just get a glimpse and snapshot, like, okay, she's kind of in these phases right here, on top of her own your own personal alignments and things. You're like, okay, she's in this scope right here, and like you said, it just bursts a level of understanding and a sensitivity,
Mm.
right? That even though he might not know, but now he's like, I could pinpoint, I could see this. I know for myself, that's what always done for me. That's why I was like, maybe go ahead and write on this because
Mm.
I've kind of been seeing it in operation, in my personal life, and then also just in the nature of the work that I do, and gratefully I'm just around a lot of women, so it's just
We know. We know you have a lot of opportunity to study.
I just observe.
You do, and quite accurately. Okay, so I got more questions, and this
Okay.
is again because I don't know much, so you'll have to forgive me
Oh,
if
you're
I'm
fine.
asking anything repetitive. But how does your numerology system, the living soul numerology system, how does that impact like what we see in this book? Do we need to understand that to be able to get into this book? Is it introduced in a way? Is it even in the book? Is it something separate? I'm curious.
No, that's a great question. Obviously it does have an impact into the book. It influenced the book, but you don't have to be familiar with the living soul numerology system to get understanding of the book. As you kind of browse, so it's not written in a way like, oh my God, I'm lost.
Right.
No, it's
Right.
written in a way where all of a sudden you be like, oh my God, that's me. I see myself in that face. Oh, I remember that. Oh, this is where I'm at right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, and so now, if you do have the living soul knowledge or training, it just enhances your level of understanding because you're going to see it from a whole different space, because just understanding, the numerical assignments, the principal alignments, the pursuit, the law of self, and all those other different things that takes it even more deeper than this. And that's not, you know, could have went to the rabbit hole, but this is kind of like a good layout
Mm.
um, where anyone someone just browse and just grab the book, like let me just grab this and read it. They can pull a lot out of it because it's not overly technical in reference to the system being infused in there. It's
Yeah.
just it was an inspiring piece, and
Right.
I could give like a commentary from that.
That's what I was. That's what I was. I'm just starting to dig into it now. So that's what I would say about it is there's so much information, but it's so digestible. Like the way everything is presented is it's it's really great. Like it's a book that I feel like I could read over and over and over and keep getting more from it. Because there's so much richness in everything that you're saying here, and I would want to keep applying it to myself and also study other people, see how I see it showing up in them as well. But yeah, you have a gift. You have a gift for that. You have a gift for being able to really present complex. I mean, look at all the influences that are on your cover, that are all the influences that live within you. And now they're like coming through in this system and this understanding. Yeah, it's brilliant. It is brilliant.
Thank you. Thank
If you
you.
haven't gotten the book, get the book. Is the link out? Did you put the link in there? Can they get the book?
Yes, I need to put the link in there, but yes, the link will be
You want to
available
read the book with me? We could do like a book club. I'm all about it. Let's read it. Let's read it together and talk about it. Anybody
Yes.
can hit me up who's watching this that knows me. Aktha, you can hit me up. I would love to chat about it if you do get this book. But because that's what I like to do. As
Nah.
Satori.
Yeah. Yeah. Dig in, right?
I
Get
like
into
to
the
dig
rabbit
in.
hole.
I got like 100 other questions after that. I'm like, ooh, what about this? What about this?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the link was available. It'll be in the comments section. I think we're kind of streaming, live on my business page, on Satori Sales
Okay.
business page, and on the profile page, Satori Sales, and then also on my YouTube, Satori Sales. And so uh, the links will be
Good.
available there. Also, people that want to get more, like you were saying, get more into the living soul numerology understanding of things. I actually have a Patreon where it's a membership. People kind of can join that, and I'm sharing a lot of stuff. You're there, you're in there. There's a lot of stuff that's being shared there. That of course is just exclusive for there, but I still even people that are you got the members and the paying members. There's different information coming across. Also, people that want to go even deeper, there'll be there's a whole nother tier, and they want to learn it like for like training, just to learn it to be able to apply it to their family and stuff like that.
Right.
Also provide a whole tier for that as well too. So, and then of course we got the whole wisdom cloud, where it's just a vast representation of the whole collective of everyone that I've been fortunate to be blessed to connect with. So we kind of bring in that's more of an integration of a lot of stuff that we have. So, but to get isolated, right, and get into this, understand how to apply to yourself and how you can navigate using this, like I said, in reference to the phases of femininity, seeing kind of where you're placed at, seeing where it's at, seeing what to look for, seeing what your possible conflicts or imbalances, all that stuff comes out when we start to dig into this thing. And then I do plan on doing deep dives around it, so that way it's a little more. How can you? What's the word I want to use? It's more more soothing.
I love your deep dives. I love the people that join your deep dives. It's always this powerful sisterhood that shows up. Yeah, they're great. And of course, Satori is incredibly generous. So he's like, all right, give me your dates. All right, your numbers are blah, 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 blah. And then he'll give you more information about yourself than you may be ready for. So I just warn you. I will warn you. You will be like, oh yeah, ooh. Damn. Okay, yeah. All right. So it's yeah, the living soul is highly, highly accurate. That's all I can say. It's highly accurate. The explanations for the numbers they vibe, they resonate in every way. Yeah. If you haven't gotten in on that, get in on that. Definitely. I mean, his memberships are not very super expensive. Like it's an easy commitment to make to yourself to just continue your own self-awareness, your own understanding of you and everyone around you. And man, we need it right now. We need this right now.
Yeah.
So thank you. Like this is the work of the people. And so glad we have some tools. We have some great tools to help us navigate. So
okay. So I guess as we kind of fade down, I want to come back where you just turned 46. Look, this is funny. So I guess
call me out. All right, call me out, Satori. I'm ready.
No. That's gonna be a good thing. I want you to, because you love the elements. You was like one of the few people that caught the elemental references in the system. a lot of times people were kind of ignoring it, but there's so much in the elements. And so I just say, like, when you look at, because you came into your blossom, just entering your first year in the blossoming phase, and you look at the elements that's overseeing that phase, right? Now, here's the deep part, not to go too deep, but you'll catch what I'm saying. So you got this phase you enter into, right? Then we got the energetic alignments with the year, right? The energetic alignments with the months, right? Then we got the energetic alignments with the day, right? Then we got the energetic alignments with you yourself personally. And they all have elemental influences or alignments. And so all this is going on, right? Orbiting around it as we're moving through things, right? So I say all to say this is like, we know the common factor in feminine energy is water. Now, we already know now, I'll make sure I cover so people is checking this out, is water. We just don't look at one element and assign it to the feminine energy, because the reality is the feminine energy uses all the different elements. But the central or the axis or the basis that the feminine energy say will sit or root upon is the water factor. So all the different feminine energy positions have a connection with the water.
Makes sense. Yep.
Makes sense. And so so we go. So you just say you just left the magnetizing phase. And you didn't leave all the magnetism, honey. That's all still with you. You know what I'm saying? That's all swirling. That's
why I want to make sure of. I was like,
oh no, all the good is still there. No, honey. Oh, that's just stacking up more energetic, karma, or however you want to phrase it, inside of us. It's just the soul activation is really, think about it. We're really bringing more of ourselves out until we are no more. That applies to man, woman, whatever. We are bringing ourselves out until we are no more. Sadly, some of us give up early in life and we're no longer into the self-inner discovery to bring these different facets of ourselves out and get to the point where, I brought these things out. Let me begin to share and help enlighten and steer others until, I'm pouring in, now I'm pouring out until I have no more to pour. And then I switch plane.
Yeah.
Right? And so this is why we say the post phase and the phase of femininity is like 56 and beyond. Because really, if all the initiation stuff like that, she's uncycled through several initiations at different viewpoints based off of the phase. Think about it right now. So you went through a phase from 16 to 25, discovery phase as a woman. You went through the second phase of confirmation phase, understanding. So you can look back and look at these three phases that you already went past already.
Right.
And you can still see the same lesson, but how more in depth or more expansive you recognize it because of where your soul place is at, basically just evolving through time.
Right. Hence the spirals all around your woman. It's like those spirals are you're just going through those phases.
Oh, you caught that.
Going back around.
It's cycling back around. It's just,
circling back around to them again. Let's see how I do this time. Let's see how I do this.
We got some more people on Cat of Loves on here. So we got Kimberly, so people check it out. So it's cycling back around, right? So if you could think, I know I'm catching impromptu. So we're going to go back to, we won't go to your magnified, we'll go to your confirmation phase.
All right.
Okay.
What was it? Tell me the ages again.
Well, let's do your discovery phase real quick. So your discovery phase is 16 to 25. Can you remember back then?
I do.
It's like, can you remember back then?
I do. They were fun years. Those were fun years.
16 to 25 is that discovery phase as a woman. Then you go into that next phase, a confirmation phase. and that's that 26 to 35. There's a lot that goes on there, uh,
Mm.
you know, for women, right?
It's called
Uh,
confirmation.
and then, of course, you graduated out of the magnetizing phase. The magnetizing phase is from 36 to 45. So
Mhm.
you can now, since you are in the blossom, you're the first. So okay, you're in the first year,
Right.
and it's focused on commitment and growth. And you just got this sharing like that's literally where you're at right now, right?
It
And
is.
so that viewpoint. So I want you to think about that viewpoint. That first, you're in that first cycle in
Right.
this phase. Now, if you could think back to when you were 16,
Mm.
based off of the commitment and growth, same same domain, same cycle, but
Interesting.
way more vast, expansive view on
Yeah.
commitment and growth. Where you apply that, what do you recognize?
Oh, yeah. So 16 to 25 was really like when my spiritual journey became very real and very full for me, and um very into just expanding my consciousness. I will say definitely at that age, 16
Okay.
to 25, there was a lot of that happening, but I feel like at 16 was like when um I knew I kind of wasn't on the same path as everyone else around me, in a sense. Like the things
Mm,
that were calling me were not the same things that other people in my age range were necessarily feeling called to. That's when I started meditation,
mm,
and it's when I discovered my career. So many things. And actually, damn, okay, so 25 is when, yeah, that ended a phase, and then 26 entered a new phase for me. I actually had a car accident
mm.
right in that right in there. And it was like pretty life-changing for me at the time. I broke my ankles on two sides, so I couldn't walk for about 9 months, and
Oh, wow.
it was a big shift. I couldn't even get into my place anymore because my place was on the third floor in an old house, and um, it was like, yeah, it was an intense time. Um, and then yeah, like the next phase was me living in India. Like that was another huge time in my life. I
So
can
was that
really see
during that?
each
What
one of
year was
these
that?
are like landmarked for me if I look at
Okay.
them.
So
So, what
what
was your
age when you went to India? Well, because you have the Indian background, obviously that Vedic connection. So when was you there? It was in your confirmation phase.
okay, so when I was 26, when I turned 26, I quit my job and went to India for 6 months.
Okay.
And that's when I met my eventual husband. And so, like, everything just shifted. I like my whole life shifted, and I decided to move to India during that time. But my initial journey there for 6 months, not for that purpose, just for my own growth and discovery, 26.
Okay.
And then it literally like created a whole different journey for me. Um, and then when did I come back here? I came back when I was 38.
Oh
30.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So you completed a whole phase through the confirmation phase and enter into that magnetizer phase.
I did, and so much happened in both of those phases.
Mm.
I'm like looking at it now. I mean, I'm see, this is, I love this. I love it. It excites me. I'm gonna go and journal about it and kind of dig back into those phases. What was happening?
No, that's the
Look,
point of this. That's why I'm trying to lay it out just for that very reason, just like that, to be able to
yeah.
sit back and see and pinpoint. Because now back to the elements, right? So
Mm.
you was led up like, oh my God, at 16, you was an early, you obviously a soul child, you're a wisdom child, obviously, right? So you was ahead of your time. Um, could you feel the water being the lead primary element during 16 and 25?
Mm, I don't know.
Now here's
Um,
here's the thing about water, because everybody thinks water thing is just emotion.
mm,
But water also refers to adaptability, wisdom, insight,
completely,
exploration, and reflection.
completely,
So it's
completely.
like So it's like you went beyond the emotional tag of it and really started tapping into the reflective, the wisdom in the water, right?
Yeah. And the
Okay.
flow. Right.
The
And just
flow.
definitely was really all about exploring the flow during that time. And yeah, all the things you just said, that was really my focus at that point. Especially this like 26 to 35, I feel like. Even the 16 to 25, it was like a really detailed. There was just a lot. There was a lot of exploration happening in my 16 to 25, and it was all flow. It was all about going around and really kind of going around what everybody else was doing. Like, yeah, you're all doing this, but I'm I'm on a different journey over here. I'm doing this, and yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from 20 to 35, could you feel the fire? Because see, that becomes more lead in the 26 to 35 was the fire.
Yes, I could definitely feel the fire. I mean, I had to have fire to leave this country and go live in India.
Exactly.
And I lived
Being
outside
assertive.
of a tiger reserve without electricity in a like we built a mud house because there was nothing, and I was in a tent before that, with tigers running around and all kinds of things. So yeah, I had to have fire.
Yeah.
Wouldn't happen.
Now, so for everybody kind of listening, when we talk about the fire in your confirmation phase, we're talking about it represents mature confidence,
Hmm.
uh, helping you to be more assert yourself, which obviously you did, right? And
Yeah.
deepening self trust. So if that fire is unquenched, right, in the phase, and the woman is really in the optimal state, she starts to kind of start, this boldness, that sense of adventure of like, let me trust myself, kind of, test
Yeah.
the waters in yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
For that
Absolutely.
fire. Okay, so you could pick that up, right? And then into the magnetizing phase. So I'm asking because I just want to see your expression. Then it gets to the earth wood as the leader.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? See how that just, even though these are this lead, but the other elements are still, there's two elements still in association. But that's
Yeah.
what I started to enjoy when I was like, wow, man, just it's interesting when you look at those markers. You
It
kind of
is.
can you can really. I use this in coaching with people when people really want to do the real coaching work.
Right.
Not the conversation side of it, but really get into. You start really taking through these different markers. I use these as prompters for myself. Like, oh, well, let's look at this right here, and they start to really uncover. Because a lot of times we don't recognize the train behind us that led us to where we're at, the tracks that we're at right now,
Right. Yeah.
right? And so we start to see, oh, well, you've been in the same track to get
Yeah.
here. Or when you switch, this is where you switch that, or in these different things, and you start looking at when I switch, ooh, I was in a different phase.
Yeah.
Oh, I was, even like myself right now, I know I'm getting ready to. I mean, it's similar, but it's the life cycle phase that I talk about in the coach. That I know I could feel the pull as I'm getting ready to switch over into
Mm.
that third life cycle phase. But that's a whole nother discussion.
So
But you
yeah,
can,
I was about to ask you about the next
yeah,
book.
yeah,
Was
yeah,
Ways
yeah.
of Masculinity coming out next? I was like, because even I would like to read that. Even I'd like to read that because yeah, so that, like we said, you could have that awareness and understanding of what the people you love are going through.
Yes. I see
Yeah.
that Latin's on here, so we'll pull her in a little bit as a rapper to you and just, you know, she kind of hopped on. But
Hi,
um,
everyone.
how y'all
Hello.
doing? But so you go for the earthwood to magnetizing phase, right? And then it jumps where you're at now. And that's what I want to speak to the now. Now we hit all. Now I took you all back, reflecting back. You're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
But just real quick as we kind of fade out, just the blossoming part, right? You didn't lose any mojo from the others. Okay, I gotta tell you because I know you're like, you didn't lose none of the mojo, honey. Okay, all right. And so now we got the blossoming part, and is the lead part is that metal
Mm-hmm.
part. Are you sensing that? Do you recognize it, or you think it's
Well,
formulating?
describe metal. Describe metal.
Okay, so the metal is not to go super indefinite, but refinement,
Yes.
resilience,
Yes.
embodying the regal presence. I can speak to that. Look at you, look very regal. The presence is booming right now. That's that grown woman. That's that seasoned woman thing. You know what I'm saying? So I'll answer that for you. Yes, you know, and then, and then a
Yes.
sense
Yes.
of
Yes.
purpose. A sense of purpose.
Mm. Like that's everything for me right now. That's like everything. Everything revolves around that for me. My work is completely tied to my sense of purpose. My decisions around my life are like my purpose as a mother, even like my different purposes that are present are like they're like my driving force right now.
Mm,
Completely true. And I was saying this to you before, like at work, at this phase, I'm 46. It's not my first rodeo. Nothing really kind of shakes me up. Like, oh, I
mhm.
gotta, I'll walk in and things are all messed up or not ready, and I'm like, it's all good. I got it. Like, I just feel I have a lot of
Yeah,
confidence because I've seen so many things happen, and the sun shines the next day, and the birds sing the next day, and all's good, right? So I'm not going to lose my mind on it. Plus, just enough experience to know how to handle things. And then recognizing that other people that I work with that are younger than me are looking to that. They're like, I don't like looking to me to as like the like to set the foundation of how things are going to roll. And I mean, I definitely feel like this responsibility that I didn't have before came with this phase. Like this
mm,
blossoming phase comes with this responsibility of how you are going to be impacting everything beyond you and after you and what seeds you're planting, yeah, because the presence at I feel like the presence at this stage for a woman is pretty powerful,
oh yeah,
They know.
I
I mean,
agree.
we that knowing it becomes so strong and clear. You don't care what anybody thinks. You don't give a shit. Like you're like,
Right.
you know, I'm doing what I got to do, and like you just all the insecurity that may be there in your 30s and the questioning because that 26 to 35 of confirmation, I mean, that's when you kind of get real good at what you do, right? Like you're figuring it out. You say discovery till 25, and then you're like,
Right.
oh, this is who I am, and then you just get the experience under your belt in that 26 to 35, and you start to master your crafts, whatever that is. And then and then the magnetizing is because you got it down, right? Like
Yes.
you know how to put it out there. You become like an expert at whatever it is that you're focused on. And this season is like, I already got it. Like I'm not worried. I don't know. I'm not worried about hustling. I just don't feel like that. I just feel like if I just be purely myself, everything's gonna work out because I got everything that I need. Like yeah, I don't
Because
know
you're in
how else.
flow. You're in flow. And so,
That blossom,
um,
right? Like I already got all my juice. I got my fertilizer. I got my water. I got my soil. Like it's blossom time.
I like that. It's blossom. And so here's the forces. I know you like just the metaphysical slant and it's
Mm,
hinted in there. So when you look at the blossoming on page 23, but the
take
two forces that is really um, driving behind this phase is
mm-hmm.
to inspirit things or despirit things,
Mm.
and
Oh
that's a
wow.
very yes, very very powerful, and it's
Ooh, can
really
you
for the
explain
woman. It's
that?
coming from
Explain that. That's juicy. In spirit and de-spirit.
And D spirit.
What do you
So
mean?
we'll look at it, right? We'll look at the basic things that we in spirit, what we give life to, our words. First of all, this part connects to the woman's intuitive prowess.
Mm,
Okay.
mm.
The intuitive prowess. And so how does she in spirit the potential in people? Or does she de-spirit people's potential?
Mm.
Does she inspirit the range of diversity in people, or does she despirit it? Does she
Is that a
inspirit people?
shadow? Would that be your shadow if you're de-spiriting, or are you selecting to de-spirit because you recognize that's what should happen? I'm trying to understand. Is it a shadow if you de-spirit, or is it
It
a
doesn't have to. It doesn't have to be a shadow,
mm-hmm,
right? Because some things need to be dispirited, right? Say we have certain things going in our lives, or certain morals, and it's too alive. We got, you know what? I'm going to, you know,
mm,
we
right,
don't need we don't need to inspirit currently what's being spirited in it.
right? Don't give your attention.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
right.
it doesn't. So I don't want to say just it's solely isolated to represent the shadow part. Even though we know there's a lot of dispiriting going on, then we're
Mm,
going to, of course, we're going to bring about the result of a shadow aspect. If we dispirit people's potential, sense of self, and all those different things, that person is going to move and operate in life more in the lane, in the train tracks of low esteem, right, of shadow manifestations in reference to their soul alignment with their own archetype. So um,
mm,
definitely that can occur. But also in time is what do you inspirit in people? You know what I'm saying? So people can
mm.
play with it, but that's what we acknowledge as a force. How is that force being used?
Yeah, I
Right?
love
How's that
that.
force being used?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's so aligned with what I do for a living. It's like I feel like I'm planting seeds the whole time that I'm facilitating, because I'm just creating spaces for people to really connect together authentically, and it happens. It happens every single time, and it's interesting because it's as a facilitator, my confidence this year has is like tenfold what it was before.
Mm,
I don't, and maybe that's because I've entered this new phase, right? Like I've had enough experiences under my belt that, so what I say all that to say is that when I'm like in my workshops and I'm facilitating, that blossoming as a facilitator helps people get in spirit, right? They feel fed by it as well. Like there's this nurturing that's happening out of that confidence, if that makes sense. But yeah. And
mm,
not, I don't even have to say anything. I'm not saying anything. So I'm very clear that I'm there with purpose. I'm all about the purpose. If I'm lighting the candle, I'm setting an intention while I light that candle. When I blow that candle out, I'm setting an intention when I blow that candle out. I put the instrument down on the desk is like purpose. Every little piece, where I put the pen, where I put the anything, is like it's artistically set up to inspire you to express.
mm.
Like
Is that
everything
that
is
four? Is that the four in you?
probably. Probably. I like all the senses engaged. I got like the candle that smells good going. I got the music playing. I got colors on everywhere. I have tactile things for you to do when you walk in. Like we're gonna you're gonna get immersed quickly.
Nice.
So
So I would
yeah.
say there's a mastery that you kind of just are at, and I think you're just comfortable in that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying this blossoming is like
Yeah,
I it's not that I have any more experience this year than I did 2 years ago in retro, maybe I've done
right.
one or two extra things, but like my study or my growth in my career as a facilitator has always been there. But there's something, yeah, man, you get to that 46 and you're like, yeah, I got this. I got this. I'm not worried about this. This is like, and not only am I not worried, but like it's like this confidence that exactly what you intend is what's going to happen. Like it's going to manifest.
Okay. Then, so yeah. So let's pivot. Let's give Latin. That's Latin. You there?
Yes.
Okay. So, of course, me and Ethan have been on here just kicking it. But just to bring you in real fast, on the book, The Phase of Femininity, I know you kind of, well, you got privilege to kind of get little hints of some stuff before it actually comes out. But I guess to integrate you into the conversation, what are some things that jumps out to you or that you recognize or that you like about the book? And you and Ethan can ignore me. Y'all can start talking among each other,
So I wasn't able to read all of it, but just part of the knowledge that I know of it is that I really like the phases, being able to see how the phases are interacting through clients and interacting through myself. And I feel the book has allowed me to be a little bit more confident with speaking with the client when they're in a haze with themselves. So the parts that I was reading was pretty exciting about, okay, even my daughter is like, I can let her look at, well, this is the phase that you're in and be okay with that without judgment and interact.
You still there?
It's a book that's explaining what might be going on with your partners or your. So in my conversation.
Okay. Hold on real fast. Like, something. Hold up. Time out. I think something's wrong with your connection. Say that again, because it was like you faded in and out. So I don't know if you changed something or going on your end or whatever. But if you can't, go ahead and repeat your whole last two sentences.
Repeat the whole thing.
Well, just notice two sentences. We heard something about your daughter, basically how you was able to get integrated with your daughter, and then it started getting kind of a little choppy from there.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I was saying I was excited about when the book comes out because I wanted to align it with my daughter because, my daughter was really started to understand some things about herself when she read the Soul Rights books. And it gave her a sense of, I think, grounding herself at turning into the age 25, that she was looking for the next book. So, anytime I bring anything around, she's always asking, is that something I can keep? So I was explaining to her that the book was coming out so she can look at herself. And along with my clients, I feel more confident when I'm interacting with them because I have an idea what phase they're in compared to what phase I'm in. Because I'm moving into a higher phase of, meditative state and being that elder yogi that people are trusting to come to, that they don't come to me with nonsense, the ones that are serious. But a lot of younger women have been coming to me that are in outside spaces about their sexuality. I've noticed that they have been trying to figure out where they need to be when they're interacting with a man versus them interacting in relationships like polyamorous. And I was able to challenge their thinking because, when they're in their younger 20s, they're still discovering. So I'll be excited to get back more into the books so that way I can really be solid in that. Like, I just wanted, I wanted to come off the top of my head to be able to know where they're at. And I remember when you first was talking about the book, I I never looked at the 9 phases versus we were talking about the 7 years, every 7 years. I was so stuck on that within the 3 phases of life. So I thought it was pretty interesting when you brought up the 9 phases. I was like, oh my God, what else is he coming up with? Like what else are you discovering? So I thought that was really amazing because it took me outside of that thinking and me having to go to the Google. I always go to the Google and look at the 7 phase, the 7 year, every 7 years where someone should be. And so this helps me to enhance what I know. I feel a bit more confident in that. So when I can master really like looking at people and really knowing exactly, okay, this is the type of archetype there. I'm pretty much interacting with the archetypes, what that looks like and how the elements, how they affect per day and how they're interacting with their numbers. I pretty much got that down, but just getting it on top, being on top of it and really being more solid. I actually rolled out the shadows, the infographic that you gave me. I actually just started putting that out, like laying it out so I could talk to it when I'm having a coaching session. So I pull it out. So when I'm hearing them talk, I can kind of see how they're moving into more of their shadow versus they're really not sure where they need to be. And so I'm able to guide them by looking at that chart. And when I can get that chart in my head by memory, that's that's my overall goal. But so yeah, so that's how I feel about what this book is providing for me compared to the soul rights. The soul rights just gave me an initiative to be able to hope again, have hope again. Like I explained that in my testimony. It was like, oh, this is like a new hope. Just to be able to have that more inspiration about yourself as you're moving into, because I'm 51. So moving at 51, I'm always thinking that I'm 9 years away from 60. And so, so your books help me to just stay grounded in that and not looking at, oh, I'm almost 60, like, oh my God, I'm almost 60.
Right.
So that's what I have to say for right now.
Okay.
I'm actually prepping juice and things like that at the same time. So that's why I kind of turned the mic off.
No, that's cool. Prep. So real fast before you continue juicing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're 51, a lovely 51, I must say.
Thank you.
At 51, and so I know you. So basically, you're in that blossoming phase. So it's funny. You and Ether are both in the blossoming phase.
Yes.
She just entered in. She's in the first year. She's in the commitment growth, phase. You are 5 years into it.
Correct.
Right. Look, see that Ether. So she already peaked. See that? You heard she said correct. That's how I know she already. See, I know Latin. I know her like a fucking buck.
6 years, actually. 6 years, not 5. 6.
6 years.
6 years into it. You say you're 51?
Yeah.
And it starts at 45.
Oh, it starts at 45. Okay. So,
there
I go.
I'm sorry, it starts at 46.
46. Okay, so 5. Okay.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. So
I got to get out of the living cell numbers.
Well, you're doing a gravity calculation. We're not doing gravity right now.
I know. I do that every time.
So she is in that year 5, which is revolving around that balance and freedom spectrum.
Ooh.
And so it's like finding your equilibrium, but at the same time being able to assert yourself, and assert your independence.
Mm-hmm.
To understand the balance between freedom and responsibility, independence and interdependence, motivating resiliency and adaptability. Are you feeling that?
I definitely am feeling motivating resiliency
Okay.
in a different phase. hmm I definitely
Okay.
am feeling that, and feeling it in the metal. The element of the metal, because
Mm.
like now when I'm making videos or I'm actually speaking, I'm like very firm about that. You just need to, you know, get your shit together and just follow the path. I'm pretty kind of firm with it now. It's like if you stay disciplined, then things will blossom for you. But otherwise, if you stray, all of these different things will pull you. And if you're not grounded, or if you don't know yourself, you're gonna find yourself moving in and out of things that you just weren't aware about, and you wasted time. So I've been lately, I've been saying that a lot,
Mm.
especially when I'm talking to people who are younger,
Okay.
because time is value now. It's really value for me.
Yes. 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 See, that's the I like that. She said she felt, and it was. I asked Ethan the same thing about the metal felt, and both y'all are recognizing, acknowledging it, but you
hmm
recognize how Latin kind of went a little more because she's 5 years in it,
Mm.
Yeah.
right? She's more integrate. She's more integrated in it.
She's
You
not
know,
dealing with the bullshit anymore.
man. No,
No.
it was real clear. She's like, you know what? Like
Like,
I know
look,
you
this is
asked,
how it is.
and I
Get
may
with
be
the
dancing
program
with
or
you.
not.
And something happened today. It was like, yes, I think we talked about how it was opposition yesterday. And then I knew today had a little bit of possibility of imbalance energy. I remember from a business standpoint, I had a business transaction that was supposed to happen. And in my mind, I said, do you compromise and start to explain yourself with the interaction? Or do you go ahead and set up an alternative? Because, I don't want my money being messed up. So I just had to be very firm about that. No, the transaction's not going to happen. I have to move in another space. I'm sorry. And I had to go do what I had to do. And I didn't feel guilty about it or anything.
Right.
I
Right.
just I just shifted and moved. I was like, I don't have time for this. I am not getting ready to, because you're gonna pull me in your nonsense, and I'm just not going there. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Mm. Look at that. Okay. So now, before you got on, I gave you some props because you was always kind of encouraging me to tap into my digital artistry, and so we what I'm saying I'm gonna give you your flowers and your water right now, and give you your juice since you're juicing, give you your juice, you know. Um, so what do you think about the cover? What does it reflect to you? Since you this visual person, this visual yogi, what do you see and what do you pull from the phase of femininity artwork by yours truly? I'm owning that.
So when I seen it on the book, I was like, whoa, like it really brung a sense of like synergy in the book, and it makes someone want to, even if you have it in an actual hard book, a hardback. I was like, I would pick this up because of the different elemental things that are happening, and then the channeling of the green, and then the middle of it, just not even if me being black, but I mean, even I could see other races of women picking this book up because it brings curiosity. Like, so the colors, you did really well on the colors. Um, I just I just resonated with this because this is how I feel, especially when I'm thinking about my own personal self, just like looking out at the ocean and just feeling beautiful, or having the birds going by, what it feels like to feel firm and grounded and at peace in that meditative state. So, um, yeah, I was like, whoa. It's like he's getting good on those. He's getting good. But the neutrality part, I can see the most, and you can see the dominance part in the woman, but yet it's very soft,
Mhm.
very airy, breathable. um, curiosity for any woman that's, looking at it, even a man. And, I can see men pulling it like, yeah, this is the image that I would love for my woman or my child or my nieces to be able to resonate with. Breathable clothes. So yeah, you did good. Even the letters weren't overtaking the picture. They just faded in and yet they were there. So I was going to ask you, I was like, what made you pick that font, compared to other fonts? But yeah, I'm very impressed. I also see, is that I don't know that symbol. Is that the data? No, no, no. I see the I Ching.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, I thought it also represents everything that you teach, the different symbols. And I could go on. I mean, I have to look at more of it in detail. The flowers. It's just nice. It's very nice. It's very calming.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And that's not because I know you. It's like if I saw that book, I would be curious to
Yeah.
what's in that book.
Yeah. I agree.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mm-hmm. And I love her eyes are closed, and you can feel her looking within, and then you got the third eye activated right there. Like
Yes.
you can feel her tapping into wisdom. Like you can feel it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm. See, that's what's up. See, that's why I roll with y'all.
I'm gonna be a little biased. It also reminds me of this picture I had a long time ago in that green dress, and I thought to myself, there's when I was in meditation. Remember, I think I showed you that picture when I was in
Yes,
Chicago, and I was
yes.
like, I thought
And
about that picture.
awesome.
Yeah, I was in. So yeah, I took a picture in Chicago. I was in meditation. The people took a picture of me, and I was in deep meditation,
That's one of my
and
favorite
I
pictures.
re- I recorded it. In each picture, you could see like you said, the inner wisdom. I was going in deep quietly with self.
Mm.
Yeah, have to find that picture.
I
You
think I got
inspired.
it somewhere.
Yeah, you inspired it. You inspired that.
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
love
that's like one of my favorite pictures. I love that picture.
Yeah, I think that was one of the times where I actually really tapped all the way in
it.
because the space was already there. And what I was looking at was all of the different deities and
Yeah.
all of the different gods that were all around the world in front of my face, all in a collective.
Wow.
Yeah, that's in Chicago. So if you ever get a chance to go to Chicago, it's this temple there. You can go and meditate and pray.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I know everybody's ready to psych down, and everybody's. I know you serving Latin. Well, Etha, got her serving, and I appreciate. So what I'm going to do is basically as people start, grabbing the book, and saw a couple people bought it today. So I want to say, gratitude for that. Encourage basically people to get some reviews. As y'all know, I kind of my personal take is move through the people,
Hmm.
and and that's what there's a lot of commercialism stuff going on. I'm just trying to just something that's real, that's kind of organic. So people giving reviews is coming from actually people actually giving a review. So into that. So if you're moved, definitely I appreciate that in advance. We're gonna do some more um, sit down views of this of the phases because I think, especially in the season we're in right now, that soul conservatory, we're slowing down towards, just be able to bring some things out. And I think there's some things that can come out here in y'all women, um, for us men and women alike, in the phases and just kind of like what you was bringing out, Ita, and Latin is, this is the kind of juice that us folk that's, in that blossoming phase
Yeah.
kind of can enjoy and chew on and drink, right? You know.
Hmm.
Um, so that, but I'm also gonna do like like a release, kind of get everybody together and maybe do like a phase of femininity virtual release party, and everyone that has bought the book would definitely be the ones, being there. We'll be able to get different takes and vibe, off of that too as well. So just want to say thanks for everyone hopping in. Actually, like I said before, if you're trying to just go on my, we'll say Facebook, go to my bio link, you can click it right there, that link tree link. You'll go right on there and you'll see it there. You can grab it there. I think in my stories, I think it's floating in my stories right now. You can click on the link in there. Uh, you you can go.
Message to Tori. He'll send you the link.
Yeah. I'll send you the link. I'm gonna drop the link in here.
Yes.
And then also those that kind of want to get more integrated or trying to figure out how to integrate it, and just kind of see this whole different, unique style of the numerology. I think both y'all can. Yeah, before we get off there, y'all can speak to that numerology because it's different than traditional, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if people want to get in that, you definitely hop on, my Patreon. We just launched that. I appreciate everybody's been on that. So that's been kind of cool just to be able to, it's really helpful for me because I deal with so much stuff. So it's like, okay, here, this is what we're doing right here. You know, Over here, y'all know I'm traveling doing body work and all the other kind of stuff. It's, segment work and all this other stuff. And over here, I'm coaching, so it was good just to have this lane right here in conjunction with the wisdom cloud that we got going on. So, but just as we get off of here real fast, just because both y'all have experience with the living soul numerology, personally, or think, just we know this is an ice cake, and we're going to tap more into this phase of femininity, but just off of what is the living soul numerology, what it's done for you, because the end of the day is we know these are like tools or guides or things like that can really help us move. I know I'm in the process right now of creating some stuff for people to navigate through 2025 through using, um, the numerical backing, so they can kind of see and witness how their life navigates by using it. But anyways, so what's y'all's take? I mean,
I'm going to start first so that way I can get back
yep.
to the juicing because I got to deliver. Um, Overall, I wanted to say that the living soul, the numerology system for me is a form of protection because it helped me to be able to speak better and connect with people, and I think it channeled my discernment higher. And I know that because when I'm speaking with people and I'm listening to their stories, I can see what's happening because I know the living soul, because I'm trained in it. So I'm able to see the numbers as they're talking. Um, and so that's really powerful. And I also know when you're not in it consistently, the numbers and the meanings and the discernment starts to fade.
Mm.
And so it's important to stay in the sequence so you don't, you know, end up in a whole nother journey that you didn't
Right.
ask for, or maybe a portal's open where outside people get to come in and you are again over giving. And so that allows me to see, oh, that's the soul promoter. Am I in my shadow of that? So it really helps me to self check my own self and then hold my clients accountable. It helps me to hold my daughter accountable because we speak sometimes in that. And I'll say, now, that's your one, you got those triple ones. So be my, I say that to her and she says, oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So I just recently said that, but she's in a shift and change in her life. So for me, I think it, again, like I said, again, it's a protection. It also allows people around me to respect me, even my parents, especially my mom. Um, and so, I just appreciate what it's pulling out. And now I'm really starting to see how it's the living soul numbers are pulling in, that are in other people that I admire. So the other day I asked the AI, like, all of the birthdays of the top 10 people that are the highest spiritual leaders. And I was pretty amazed at the top 10, because I'm going to start doing some stories on that, like how you do like the Hollywood singers and things like that. I was like, well, who do I admire? So the Living Soul is helping me to dig into that. And I was really amazed
Wow.
what it pulled out. And they, and they were all nines.
You see
Wow.
it.
a,
You told
a
me.
different type of nine,
Yeah.
so, because, I'm trying to get ready for next year, it's like, the number nine. I'm like, what is that in my life? And what does that look like in people who are doing well? And so I just appreciate the living. So I appreciate it because it really says what it is. How are you living and how is your soul? You know, so it's a reminder. And so my words now has been, what's your living presence? What does that look like for you? So that's a that's a conversation I have with my clients now. What is your presence day by day? You know, or what do you want that to look like? So yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Okay. Appreciate you.
Hmm.
Definitely, passing through. I know you got to like serve, serve your partners,
Okay.
the juice and everything. So we'll definitely touch back down. So appreciate you. And
All
then
right.
I guess it was eat to your
Good
your
night.
thoughts on the living. Good night.
My thoughts, I've been saying, and I feel like my thoughts are that it first off brings self-awareness and understanding for yourself, and to me it cultivates compassion for myself and for other people, because you start to recognize that they are functioning within those archetypes like you are. And so recognizing more clearly the different aspects of yourself is incredibly insightful, and how you relate to other people as a result, and just handle different life situations as a result. And then it's like when you understand somebody else's numbers, I was saying this before, you won't take things personally. Like, no, that's just your numbers. Like, that's not, that has nothing to do with anything I could project onto you about myself. It's just you living within your numbers, and I'm living within my numbers. Um, yeah. So for me, it's like it gives greater like compassion and like more access to real unconditional love for yourself and for somebody else, because you are recognizing their makeup and you're respecting that, you like honor that about the person, and yourself, right? So yeah, and it's just anybody who wants to have self mastery. I mean, I feel like that's what it is. It's an opportunity because you're basing it on universal principles, which is going to guide you towards mastery to begin with, right? And then like the numerology is now like mastering who you are once you understand yourself, and then understanding other people's journey of mastery is different than your own. They have a different makeup of soul numbers and how they are on their journey of their own mastery. Like, I just feel like it gives you that perspective, that understanding and clarity around yourself and other people. um, and I'm just started. I haven't even learned how to calculate the numbers yet. Then I'm going to be like Latin here, like, yep, I'm talking to somebody. I'm like, ah, there goes a 4, there goes a 3, there goes that 6, right? And I'm still learning all of them. And that's why I'm really excited. I'm excited to learn. I was already telling you, put out a calculator, because I'm telling you, people who are not ready or don't have the time to invest in learning how to do it themselves will still really love to be able to get some insight
On
into
it.
themselves and other people. Yeah. And in relationships. Like, why is this happening between me and this other person? And instead of it just being, us talking about situations, it's like, well, and then, again, ties back to the soul rights. It's like, okay, well, this person is living in their soul journey and it may be different than your own. So, A, understand that. And then two is like, they have the sole right to live out those numbers and explore them and to be them in a sense, even if it doesn't fit my idea of what I was thinking, or all those things. It just takes it out the window, because it's more like it's a truth. It's like a lens of truth on people. That's what I would say. Yeah, it's good stuff. I don't know, it keeps me up at night. It does. I'm like, go back again. Wait a minute, hold on. Yeah, what you told me earlier. I'm a metaphysical nerd. I am. I love it. I love it.
Metaphysical nerd.
I'm not lying. It's true. It's true. So yeah.
So that's what's up. So I appreciate you just hopping on, and we kind of chopping up a little bit, and we'll definitely do more. I know it's getting kind of late, so want to honor your time and appreciate you supporting your insights. And I can't wait till you start journaling, and then when you start reading through it, and some stuff you're gonna pull out. So I already know it's gonna be rich. I already can feel it. So I'm kind of like, just let me know when.
I will. I'll be like, so you'll have a four-page.
It's gonna be fun.
From me.
And I appreciate you kind of sparking me to kind of, because this is gonna be fun. Because I think there's a lot of things that people will see that they can really get out of this. You know what I'm saying? Because it's more than just like getting a bunch of things that feed your intellect. It's actually more reflective, observant, experiential reference.
It is very embodied. It is not just conceptual, and that's a huge thing I can say. It's not just a bunch of great ideas. I've read a lot of great ideas. It's it rings true really quickly. You don't even have to take my word for it. You don't have to take anyone's word for it. Like when you get into soul numerology and you find out your numbers and you start to read about them, you'll be like, dang, oh yeah, that's it. That's me, right? So it's, anybody who takes a peek is going to just, you feel that resonating very quickly, because I don't know what the math is. I don't know how you figured it all out and how you tied it all into universal principles, but it rings so true. I mean, it is. You read it, you're like, oh, okay. And like you also like kind of fall in love with yourself. You're like, oh yeah, that's me.
Yes.
That is me.
Yes.
And then, maybe there's some of those archetypes that have been more repressed in your life, but you've struggled with them. I have that. I had the 4. I totally struggled with that for most of my life. And, I have a 7, and my 7 can be very dominant, and I can see how that shows up in positive and shadow ways in my life. So it just, it makes you know yourself better, understand yourself better, embrace yourself in a whole another way. And I'm really focused on self this year. So like I'm focused on the self journey, but I am excited to learn how to calculate everyone around me and be like, oh yeah.
We'll take care of that. We'll go get that by Sunday. You'll have all that already down. So
anybody else want to join me Sunday, 1 week from today? We start the certification to be able to learn how to do the soul living numerology system, like how to actually calculate it yourself and understand the inner workings of it. So if anybody else is a metaphysical nerd out there, come join me.
Yes.
Join me.
So that's what's up. So we'll go ahead and pop off of here, and you can just turn your camera off and let it sit, and we'll just let this
good.
process out, and it will be on the YouTube on my page, Satori Seals. I think the Living Soul 101 TV. Check out that as well. That's a channel that's been recently developed. So again, that's Living Soul 101 TV. And again, you can check me out, Satori Seals, just on YouTube. And then also, I want to tap more in and join me on my Patreon, where we're going into, readings and doing different breakdowns, really revolving around as it applies to your life, applies to yourself, applies to situations. Definitely join the membership, because it's basically an investment into yourself. And you'll be able to see results of that investment as you begin to practice. And so you can tap in onto the Patreon, Living Soul. So just go to, you can Google it. Just Google Patreon, and then look up Living Soul, and you'll see me. You'll see my page and stuff pop up. And so we welcome you on that. And so everyone that's a part of the whole, part of the whole Living Soul community on the Patreon, we appreciate y'all for being on. And so, and again, everyone that's kind of bought the book today, I appreciate it. Gratitude. Some of you know I've been actually traveling earlier today right here just to kind of speak, and I haven't been on live in a while on Facebook, and I was kind of, and some other people said I kind of need to, just get on here. So I did. So I appreciate them kind of just pushing me to do that. But again, we're also, anyone's interested in training, you could be an enthusiast and just want to just tap in, or you want to apply it to your wellness practice or consulting, if you got business stuff going on. You can reach out and get into the Living Soul training for the profile level, and you can get a lot of information and a lot of stuff there to utilize in what you're trying to do. Also, just giving a heads up, if you're interested in personal one-on-one coaching, and you like this system to be incorporated, in your coaching as you're going through year 2025, reach out to me, because we're putting together a whole package and layout for that, so that way you can benefit from, a certain amount of readings and stuff like that, forecasting, and everything kind of comes in line with the whole Living Soul numerology system. So in the meanwhile, get the book, click my bio link, check in the stories. I'm gonna put the link in here, show some brothers some love, right? Tap in. It's definitely something beneficial for you. Brothers, this is a very good book to have in arsenal, especially if you have daughters. I wish I had more of it, or formulated and compressed when my daughter was younger. I had aspects of understandings, but at this space in life now, seeing how this all really comes together, I was like, wow. So this is a great tool, especially you got kids and stuff like that. You definitely want to grab this. Young adults, young women, older women, alike. And again, we're just I'm just breaking down the feminine energy as it's assigned to the biological counterpart of the woman, and how's that looking? How's that evolution looking like? How's that influencing her, right? Even we realizing it. For example, think about when we're aging, we don't really recognize we're aging until we start seeing visible evidence, right? It's the same thing that's going on energetically that I kind of captured in this book. It's kind of showing these progressive markers that you'll be able to recognize yourself, because when you start to read it, you'll begin to take yourself in your own journey and identify with it. Okay, so anyways, we're going to be creating more content and stuff around this. There's going to be some exclusive insights in addition to this book, The Phase of Femininity, but you're only going to be able to get it when you get onto the Patreon as a member. Okay, it will be exclusively on there. So some of you might wonder, well, how much it costs to be a member to get this type of level of coaching? It's $7 a month. Okay, so y'all know I'm a very straight shooter. It is, you hop in there, there's a gamut. I guarantee you, there's way more information and wisdom and guidance that exceeds that $7 commitment a month. Okay. And then those that want deeper insights and want a more self-paced training into the living soul, we have another tier for that. And you'll see that once you get, onto the whole Patreon. So there's a lot of people reaching out on that. I encourage you to get onto the Patreon. I'm putting in work. So just make sure, just hop on. You got stuff there, and it's still bringing more, more information there. Actually, you can go on my Patreon and buy the book there as well on the shop there too. Okay, so it's available. Just tap in. I'm in advance appreciating everybody that's been supporting and my other projects and other endeavors I've been doing. So it's a very unique time, and I'm just trying to add my piece into the evolution of the consciousness of us. All right. So with that in mind, chime in, check out, get the book. Appreciate you. Drop a review. Hey, one love. Everybody be easy.